Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. Okay, today we're diving deep. We are going to talk about the value of learning through experience. Of course, as somebody who creates courses and teaches, I believe that workbooks and formulas have their place. And there's something uniquely powerful about the lessons that we learn from real life experiences that will always surpass what a workbook, worksheet, or a formula or theoretical strategy will bring us. So obviously, there's an undeniable importance about having formulas and having theory and frameworks. They're the building blocks, right? They give us a foundation, whether that's, you're learning algebra or any kind of math, you need like the foundation. You're in the kitchen, you're learning how to cook, you're learning how to speak Italian because you're taking a trip. That formula that is the foundation or the guidelines, the framework, it can save you time. It can help you kind of avoid the pitfalls that you would find if you didn't have it, right? If there were no framework, then and you're just kind of duct taping everything, you're going through in the blindly in the dark, trying to figure it out. But while, formulas, they're necessary for problem solving and I would say creativity and innovation, there's formulas and frameworks, they have a place in all of it. They offer structure and ways to approach difficult things so that we can get it. We figure out how to do it. So formulas and frameworks, they are like a recipe. And when you're learning a recipe, I always say, learn what the recipe is there for, like the order of it. Why does the recipe have these specific ingredients? What do they do? Why do you add them in a specific order? Why do you mix the dry ingredients first and the wet ingredients and then put them together later? Like, why? There's a reason why we're using baking soda instead of baking powder in this recipe. There's the recipe and the outcome, the result requires certain things. And you learn that, you figure it out about the recipe. And then you adjust it so that you can make it your own and you add different seasonings and spices and make different texture out of it and so on. So formulas are an amazing part, but they're only one part of the equation, right? It's a roadmap, but they don't replace the need for actual experience. A map is not a replacement for getting in the car and driving someplace. So you have a perfect plan. You can have step-by-step instructions. Siri can tell you exactly where to go. And until you actually get in the car, you're not going to fully understand what it's like to be behind the wheel. The way that you have to take a left-hand turn, at least in the United States, it feels different than the way you take a right-hand turn. I guess that applies everywhere. The left-hand turn and a right-hand turn are just going to be different feelings. You've got to take a wider turn, and depending on the length of the car or the vehicle that you're driving, there's nuance involved. So there's a limitation if you rely only on a formula, a plan, or a framework, right? Real world life, those are unpredictable. They are nuanced. They're dynamic. You can't account for every variable that you're going to encounter. And when you need to be creative and you need to be adaptable as an entrepreneur, as a coach, And anything that you do, you can read books about it. You can take courses on it. You can watch the stock market. You can read the customer feedback. You can do all of those things, but you're not going to truly understand success as an entrepreneur, a business owner, a coach, or anything else that you do if all you're doing is reading about it and thinking about it and learning about it and knowing about it, right? So when you over rely on a formula, it's going to stifle not just your success, but even just your innovation, like your ability to grow from one place into another. Because if you're too focused on following a specific path, you're going to miss all of the opportunities to have veered a little bit to the left and stepped a little bit outside of the box. And you need personal, practical experience. It's the ability to experiment and explore and make a mistake and learn from that mistake will foster your creativity and your innovation and your success. So doing something with what you know is the best way to learn. And that hands-on experience, it only comes by you saying, yes, I will take imperfect action. You've got to actually take action and give yourself permission for it to be imperfect the first go round. So you're going to activate parts of your brain, the cognitive processes that are going to create the ability for you to retain more of what you're learning because of what you do versus what you read or watch. So think about I would love to go to Italy, so I would love to learn Italian. I don't know if I'm ever going to do this. I just don't always have a lot of brain capacity. In addition to everything else I'm doing, like the idea of learning a new language sounds incredible and incredibly hard. And I already know some Spanish and some sign language, but this would be like a whole new version. But I could study like the rules of the language, the vocabulary of the language. I can do all of that, but I'm not actually going to know it unless I start speaking it, right? I need to interact with people who actually speak. So at least some decent version of Italian. If I don't do that, I'm really going to struggle to learn it if I'm just even watching videos or Rosetta Stone or Duolingo. I'm not talking with anybody. So I've got to actually step out and start talking to somebody. I need to go to an Italian restaurant where people who are Italian work there and actually talk to them and just practice it. Just test it out. See what it's like to actually talk to somebody who's going to speak back to me and feel a little bit weird and awkward when I have no clue what they said because I said, hello, how are you in Italian? And they responded back with 5 sentences really quickly and I have no clue. Awkward. That's when I get to learn how to say, I only know a little Italian. I can't speak quickly. I don't understand you. So the other thing is I would say like sports. You know, you can study techniques and strategies, and let's just say of pickleball if you were trying to learn how to do that like I am. But it's actually getting on the court and competing with somebody and playing against somebody that's going to hone my skills. Well, honestly, that's where I'm going to create skills. I can know about the rules and still not have any skill, right? So I need to actually feel myself moving on the court, my muscles working, develop that muscle memory, and adapt mentally, emotionally, and physically to the unpredictability of gameplay. It's the same thing with coaching clients. So without the human element in front of you, which will surprise you every time and always throw you off your formula if you're set on using one, but you really can't coach from theory. And you have to learn how to adapt to the needs of the client. And you can't learn to adapt if you never have a client. So yeah, it's scary in the beginning. A lot of my clients feel like it's just scary to do it for the first time. That's normal. In fact, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be in situations that feel scary. But what if it's just a thought that you're having? What if you've decided to think that coaching your first client is scary? What if I gave you a new thought and told you it's not scary? Helping somebody in front of you can be an intentional decision and can go really well because helping people is second nature to you. You love doing it. You believe it's an honor to do it. And those people are not a threat to you. So you're not threatened. You're doing what you're good at. You're doing what you love. So are you really scared? Or are you just thinking you're going to be scared? No, you can actually think, this is going to go well, and I'm going to do this. So I love what's called acrylic pouring, and you use acrylic paint and you add some different things to it to help it flow easily. And then you pour it out on a canvas and you blow it with a blow dryer, or you move it around and do all these things. And as I was learning how to do that a couple years ago, I could sit and watch videos all day long because it was so beautiful. It was like really peaceful to me. And I could watch them do acrylic pouring and still, after watching them, not have a clue how to do it. I tried following all of their paint mixing formulas to a T, and I still struggled when I started to make something beautiful. And the only way I learned how to paint pour was to actually pour paint. I had to put paint on the canvas and risk making something ugly. I had to risk wasting paint, wasting a canvas, starting over again, scratching it off, or like throwing it away. But I had to make multiple ugly things in order to ever make something pretty, and I had to practice pretty in order to make something beautiful. So the formula that I learned could only get me so far in my head, because the experience that I got personally was what really pulled things together and created something. Experience is such a powerful teacher because the difference between theoretical knowledge and practical application is huge. And obviously, formulas and theories and frameworks are awesome, but they don't prepare us for the nuance of real life. And the other aspect of it is emotional. It's the emotional impact of the experience, because when you go through something firsthand, it's going to leave an imprint on your memory, and it's going to impact the decisions you make going forward, right? So think about the first time you ever had a job interview. Maybe you were 16, 20, 14, whatever it was. The nervousness, the feeling, the anticipation, the preparation you felt like you needed to do. And then when you got there, the questions you didn't expect to have an answer for, all of those things that you could not really make happen according to a specific formula, as desperate as your brain wanted to be certain about how that interview was going to go. The elements that you didn't expect to come, they taught you more about the process and more about you than any, career coaching formula ever could. Get a career coach, ask them to help you figure out how to present yourself the best way possible when you are in an interview. But knowing what your coach says is still only theory if you never go apply for a job and show up for an interview, right? And the emotional highs and lows with your experience make the lessons that you learn deeper and more profound and give you more to learn from, leading to, I would say, greater success or quicker success in the long run. So let's say you're learning how to coach, or probably, I would say, even learning how to parent. And you watch all the videos and you read all the books and you answer all the questions and you come to all the live trainings. You should do all those things. And then you should go coach somebody and put all the theory you've learned into practice. You need to apply what you learn in real life, and you need to experience to know how you did it. So a lot of my clients, people who are becoming coaches or are coaching, They want to know how. How do I coach? How do I make a session successful? How do I start doing this in my business? How do I get this exact result? I say, go try. Learn what you can, and then try. And then from trying, you're going to be able to look at it and say, this is what I did, and this is what worked, this is what didn't work. Ta-da, now you know something. In the greenhouse course, I give a framework for how to go through a session, just a flow in a 55-minute session. And some coaches operate in a way that they really want to keep to a 55-minute session with the exact amount of time I lay out on that session flow ladder. So if copying something to the T is the best way for you to learn, that's totally fine. You can do that. And if you need to use, let's say, the exact words that I give you in a template for how to tell somebody you're a coach and who it is you help and what you help them do, fine. But you just have to know that no matter what formula you pick up and carry with you, it will never be as successful when you try to stick to it and operate just from trying to gain success from the theory in your head and trusting in the formula. You have to go make it yours through application. There is so much growth that comes from learning through experience by doing. And it will make you more resilient. It'll make you more adaptable. It'll make you more understanding and really successful with the person in front of you because you're adaptable, because you can shift with them. And when you face the challenges and you do navigation, then you're actually building a personalized toolkit of strategies and skills that are going to serve you in the future. So that kind of learning will always encourage your growth mindset, which I just think is one of the most powerful things that you need to have. And I think we should be teaching it in every grade in school, to have a growth mindset so that you can understand that setbacks, they're not ultimate failures. It's not fatal. They are always opportunities to grow and learn and improve. And failures, they're not what human nature, our soul, tries to make us believe that they are. Failure is part of life. Failure is okay. Failure is acceptable. Even when your parents told you it wasn't, it is. It's part of how you grow, because if you are always afraid of failing and you only operate from a formula, you're losing out on doing so many things that you just need to try. You need just to be willing to show up, try, take imperfect action, and then refine it from there. So remember that every experience, good or bad, is just a stepping stone towards growth and wisdom and all the true mastery that you really long for. It's going to come from actually rolling up your sleeves and jumping into action, not from sitting and thinking more. So if you need a formula, I'm going to give you one. If it's possible to research and learn so that you can understand the ingredients of what you want to create, then go research and learn. But immediately, as fast as you possibly can, go apply what you learned. Go teach it, share it, coach it, make it, apply it in some way, and do it as many times as possible. Experiment and explore and practice over and over and over again. And then you're going to be able to look back in hindsight and say, oh, that's how I did it. I used what I knew and I turned it into what I did. And from there you refine. But you're never going to have something to refine into excellence if you don't ever first have a poopy first draft. The real magic happens when you step out of the learning and thinking and you step into doing. So it's through the action that you gain real understanding and get develop resilience and become adaptable and unlock all of that capacity and possibility and potential that's within you. So next time you find yourself stuck in your head, stuck in theory, demanding a formula, demanding that somebody else tell you how they did it, remember, the best way to learn is by doing. So go put on the new pair of shoes and do the thing. If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com, or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.